Hello everyone, welcome back to Top Stitches. Today we are going to be learning how to cut and sew an off-shoulder gown. So if this is what you are looking to learn, please sit still. Let's get started. Alright, so this is the material we'll be needing, and as you can see, this material has a pattern to it. I have my pattern, and at the very top I'll draw out my starting line, and then with my tape rule I'll place 7.5 inch as my starting line. That is where my off shoulder will be. 9 inch is my chest line, 12 inch my bust line, then 15.5 inch my under bust, and then 20 inch is the full length of this half scale. So after that, what you can see me inputting now is my nipple to nipple measurement, half of my nipple to nipple measurement. I'll just input it from the center front, and then I drew a line to connect those points. Now I'll take in my dart. On the part going towards the sides, I'll be inputting 1.5 inch, and on the part going towards the center, I'll be inputting half of an inch. On my bust line, I came down by half of an inch, and then I'm connecting those points. Watch what I am doing. I am using the curvy part to connect the part going towards the side, and the part going towards the center, I'm using a straight line. On my starting line, the part going towards the sides, I'm inputting 1.5 inch, and the part going towards the center, I input half of an inch. So that is the dart I'm going to be taking there. This is to avoid gaping, at the off shoulder part. So I'm connecting it to the bust line, and then I'm coming in to blend it properly, so that I will have a smooth curve there. Then my under bust, I'm increasing my dart to 2 inches. She's kind of busting, so I need a wider curve there. So I increased it to 2 inches, and I connected it like I did before. For the shoulder, I'm going to be moving my tape rule from one dart leg to the other, excluding the dart, and I input 7 inches. This is her shoulder measurement divided by 2 minus 1 inch. So now I'll just make my armhole box there. So on the hem, I'm inputting half of an inch, and then 1 inch for now at the other side, and I am connecting it like you can see me doing. So do that for yours. And now it's time to impute my circumference measurement divided by 4. So on this armhole area, I'm excluding the dart that I have there, and I impute my round bust measurement divided by 4. Now I'll connect it. That will be my guide to make my armhole curve. So for the under bust, I am doing the same, excluding my dart and then imputing my measurement. So do that also for the hem. Exclude your dart and impute your circumference measurement divided by 4. Now I'm going to connect it. Please watch what I am doing. Alright, so I've connected with a straight line. Then the difference there, I'm going to impute it on that leg. So that is what I did now. I think I have about 1 inch. I just included it there. So for my neckline, for the sweetheart neckline, it's just going to be somehow shallow, not too deep. So I'm using 0.75 inch, and I connected it to the dart leg there. So I'll add my necessary allowance and cut it out. So for the sides, I'm adding 1.5 inch, and at the hem, I'm adding just half of an inch. I'll connect it and then continue my cutting. So this is it for the sides, and for the center, I'll just exclude my dart. I mistakenly excluded my sewing allowance, but I'll add it back. So I'll come in and label now, and we'll work on the back panel. I have a material unfold here, and from the center front I'm marking 1 inch. That will be my zipper allowance. So I'll mark that 1 inch and connect it, and all other measurement is going to be starting from that 1 inch. At the top I am drawing out my starting line, so do that for yours. And then you see this material has a pattern to it, so please make sure you're facing your pattern in the correct way. Alright, so now I'll place my 7.5 inch on my starting line and then come down to my bust line, my under bust, and then the full length of this half scale. I'll mark that twice. Now this time around marking my chest line, which is 9 inches. So I will impute those markings in 2 places and then use a straight line and connect it like you can see me doing now. So after connecting, now I will impute my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 4 inches. Remember, we are starting from that line that we made as our zipper allowance. So I'll use a straight line now and connect it. So for the length of the dart leg is going to be 1 inch above my bust line. That is where my dart leg is going to be starting from, and at the hem I impute ½ inch on both sides. That is what you can see me connecting, just a regular dart for this back pattern. Alright, so for the neckline it is going to remain 7 inch for the back, and then I'll connect it down to the 9 inch that I have for my armhole box. I'll connect it like so, and then I'll impute my bust circumference measurement divided by 4. That is what you can see me imputing there now, and then I'll use that as a guide to form my armhole curve. So on the under bust I'll do the same, excluding the dart this time around, and impute my circumference measurement divided by 4. At the hem I will do that also, and then I will use a straight line and connect it. Alright, so this is it right here, and after that I will come in and then add my necessary allowance. So add your necessary allowance and it is time to cut it out. Going ahead now to cut mine. So open it up at the center so that we have the 2 back panels. So I'll go and trace out on my fabric, and then this is it right here. So I added my allowance on that part that I mistakenly cut out, and then this is the back panel that I had before. So for the center back I'm going to be coming in by 0.5 inches on the zipper allowance, and then from the hem, the one at the hem, you see how I am connecting it to the side, and then the 0.5 inch on the zipper allowance I'm going to take it upwards. This is to eliminate bulge at the back area, right? So I have done that. Now I will keep this aside so that we'll work on the down part. Alright, here I have 2 pieces of material on fold for my back and for the front panel. So I'll start from my 20 inches where the upper panel stopped, right? So I place 20 inches and then I am imputing the length of this gown. So 40 inches in the length, and then plus 2 inch for my turn up. Down to 29 inch is my hip line. So I'll just impute those markings in two places: 29-inch my hip line, 44-inch my full length, and then 46 inches is for my turn up. The 2 inches is for my turn up. I connected those lines, and now I'm marking my nipple to nipple measurement from the waistline down to the hip line. And then on the hip line, I came up by 2 inches. That is where my dart is going to be stopping, and I connected it with a straight line. On each side of that leg, I'm going to be imputing 0.5 inch, that's half of an inch, and I'm going to connect it to where my dart is going to be stopping. So this is it right here. After this, I'll simply go ahead now and impute my circumference measurement divided by 4. That is for my waist divided by 4. On the hip line, I'll impute the hip circumference divided by 4. And on the full length, not on the turn up line, on the full length, I'm going to be imputing what I have on my hip minus 1. So that is what I have. I'll come in now and add my necessary allowance to all my markings and then connect it. So for now, we'll be leaving the 2 inches that we added, and I'll come up and connect those markings. Alright, so connect like you can see me doing now to have a nice curve at the sides. Alright, for the turn up, don't connect it straight, just make a slant line like you can see me doing now, so that it will sit perfectly when you sew your turn up. I will show you in a second what I mean when we are sewing it up. So I'll come in now and then cut it out. So I'll cut out the excess that I have there, and then I'll go and cut on my lining, and then add my hairstay on the center front alone, on the lining for the center front. I'll do all that, come back and show us. Alright, so for my turn up, this is the hem of my skirt, right? I already cut out on my lining. The lining is underneath it. So you see how I folded my full length, fold it in, and then cut off the excess, if any, at that area. After cutting it, this is what I'll have. Now to cut my lining, I'm folding it on top, as you can see, like this. And meanwhile, I have my lining cut out. I'll just place it on top and align it properly. So after aligning it, this is what I have. You see where I have that turn up, I'll just go ahead and make a mark on that lining, and then I'll connect a straight line and cut it out. Your lining is supposed to be shorter than the main fabric. Alright, so cut it out like this, and when you sew, this is what it should be looking like. Alright, so that is what it should look like. So for the upper part, I have my wording already attached. I have a video on how to pad a bustier properly. So this is it right here. Now I'll come in and pin the side front and the center front, each side facing each other, the right side facing each other. So align it properly and pin it down. I'm just putting one pin to get it correctly, and then when I go over to my machine, I'll just sew. Please, in sewing this, start from the down part, start from the hem to sew upwards, and do be careful when sewing because of the curve you have there. Now for my back panel, I'll just come in and place the right sides facing each other. The part of the lining that is the right side, I'll place it on the main fabric and then pin it down. I'll go and sew on the top part, top stitch, and then close it up at the sides. That will be it for the upper side of this gown. Then for the lower part, the skirt part, I'll come in and then Also pin it at the hem, placing the right sides facing each other. This is for the front, so I'll just get the center part and then pin it down. I'll also top stitch and then align it at the top to close it at the sides. Please start from the up side to sew. So for the back panel, place it properly, the sides for the hip side and then the side for the zipper allowance. Please do be careful, place it properly and then pin it down. I'm just putting one pin for now. So pin it down and then sew top stitch on the lining and then align properly from the hip, from the waist area, and then sew down on both sides. Alright, so this is what I have after joining the upper sides. I've notched and ironed my seams open for the bustier area, and then this is the skirt part, the lower part, right? So this is the back panel. I've gone ahead to iron all of them. Alright, so for my darts at the skirt area and then at the back part, I'll come in. You know, I have ½ inch for my zipper allowance remaining, so I'm going in to mark 4.5 inch. I'll do that on the second part, 4.5 inch. And for the skirt area, for the back part is also 4.5 inch because I still have ½ inch for my zipper allowance. So I'll come in and make all those mark and then connect it with a straight line. For the dart leg is 5.5 inch, that is the length of the dart. On the hip area, ½ inch on both sides, and then I'll connect it to where my dart is going to be stopping. So when I place my fabric like this, and then I will have the slant line which I will be sewing my darts on. So for the back panel, I'll also connect with a straight line and then placing my tape rule on 20.5 inch at the hem. I'll come up by 1 inch at the bust line and then place my mark. That is where the dart is going to be starting. So now I've folded it in just to make it easier for me, and I mark ½ inch on the hem, connected it, and that will be my dart for the up part and then the down part. So for the skirt dart area, you see what I am doing. I'm going to come in and get the center. I'm going to come in and get the center and then mark the dart where I have it on my upper scale. So what I am doing now is just take what I have on both sides from my center. Just watch what I am doing and you will get it correctly. So after marking it now, I will mark ½ inch outwards. You see what I am doing, ½ inch outwards. So I'll connect those lines now and then I'll pencil it down. So in essence, that place that I mark using the center front is going to be where I will be stitching. Please, I hope you understand what I did. If you don't understand, just watch what I am doing. I made it for the both sides, and so that you understand very well. So after this now, I'll go in and then sew up my darts. I'll go and sew it up. After sewing my darts, I'll get my lining for the bustier area and then align it properly at the neck area so that I will join the lining and the main fabric. So I will sew, and after sewing, I will top stitch with my hemming gun. Top stitch on the lining with your hemming gun, close up the sides, and then the hem. I'll come back and show us. All right, so this is it right here. I've gone ahead to iron it down also. All right, so these are my darts that I picked. Now I have my center front for the skirt. If you match it up, you will see that the dart is properly aligned. So I'll place the right sides facing each other now and then sew it up. I'll also do that for the back panel. Please make sure your darts are properly aligned. If there is any difference, please lose it and sew again. So I'll do that for all the sides, join it together, and then I'll come back and show us what it looks like. So after sewing it, this is it right here. You can see my darts are all sitting perfectly, aligning with each other. So the next thing I will do now is to place the back panels together, the right sides facing each other. Please, while sewing, please open up your stitches. So now I'll just align it at this waist area and pin it down. So I'll align it and pin it down so that we will take where our zipper will be stopping, that is at 5 inches, and then from that 5 inch I will go down to where I want my slit to start from. So I want mine at 7 inches, then I will mark half of an inch, to close up that part where I will not have my slit or my zipper. So I will go and sew it, and after sewing it, I will shape my dress and then fix my sleeve and the zipper at the back. And just right after doing that, this is what it looks like. All right, you see how the bustier area is sitting properly and all that. All right, if you found this video helpful, please subscribe, like and share my videos. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.